Lo'olam hi b'rshus ha'av ad shetikonis l'rshus habal. She remains in the domain of the father. We're talking about she's a nara until she enters into the domain of the husband. L'nesuin. For nesuin, once she becomes nesua, she's not in the father's domain any longer. Mosa of l'shluchi habal. The father gave over his daughter to the agents of the Baal. Okay, they are the equivalent of, they represent the husband. Hari b'shus habal. She's considered the domain of the husband. Holach ha'av im shluchi habal. What about he's going with his daughter? He meets the agents of the Baal. Not halfway, all the way. They meet and he accompanies them. O sheholchu shluchi ha'av im shluchi habal. The agents wasn't the husband. It was the agents of the father accompanied the agents of the Baal. Hari b'shus ha'av. She remains still in the domain of the father. What about Mosu Shluchei Av l'Shluchei Habal? They gave her over to the Shluchei Habal, Hari b'shus Habal, because the agents of the Baal are the equivalent of the Baal himself, the husband. Okay, it says L'Olam. She is what's the adamant, the emphasis. She remains forever in the domain of the father. Lafuki Mishrishona. It comes to negate the first Mishnah. What was the first Mishnah? Did nan he gives mavlo nisu 12 months passed and they didn't get married. Ochlis mishalo, he has to start supporting her. Ochlis bitruma, she's Nashis Kohen, she's permitted kamash milan olam no, until she actually enters into the chuppah. She's what? Or until she's given over to the agents of the husband, she's considered in the domain of the father. She cannot eat truma, and the husband has no financial obligation to her. Okay? Mosav l'shluchei habal, hari b'shus habal. If the agents of the Baal gave her over to the Baal, then she's in the Rishus of the Baal. Omer Rav Mesiros Kol. She's considered fully in his domain. Chutz b'truma. Even if he's a Kohen, he gave her over. Truma she cannot eat until the actual chuppah takes place. Can't eat truma. Ravasi after the truma. No, once she's given over, she's considered his wife, right? So therefore, she can even truma. Eser Rav Huna the Ravasi. Rav Huna asks Ravasi. Ravasi says even truma. Okay, Eser Rav Ravasi V'Amri Rav Chia bar Rav. Rav Chia, the son of Rav, the Ravasi L'Olam Hebrew Shusa'av. Achitikonis L'Chuppah. It says explicitly in the Brisa, she's in the domain of the father until she enters the Chuppah. So what is the inference? Chuppah, yes, but giving it over to the Baal, not, right? Omalu Rav Lava Midiluhu Los Tezlu Bosa Ibcho. He says, didn't we're talking about Chia is the son of Rav. Rav says to his son, didn't I explain to you that since there are alternative ways to understand it, therefore you shouldn't take on one position. They were able to answer very simple. What you're quoting here, giving over, the Shluchei Baal giving over to the husband, that giving over, that's considered the equivalent of going to the chuppah. So therefore it's not difficult. That it says in the Brisa, she's in the domain of the father until she enters the chuppah. Chuppah means you're giving over to the Baal. That what? When we say she's in the domain of the husband, that's only what happens. Who inherits a wife? A husband, but only if she's fully married. So therefore, giving over to the husband is the equivalent of being fully married. That if she should die, he inherits her. Reish Loksham l'chsuboso for the ksuba. Somewhere says l'chsuboso. What is the name for the ksuba? The mora the mesa yorislu. It doesn't mean to say that if she dies, he inherits like a husband. Somewhere says Hainu de Shmuel. That Shmuel just said that, and evidently Reish Lakish is coming to say differently than Shmuel. Meaning, what happens? She gives out to the Baal. They never consummated the marriage. Now she dies. Now he dies. What is her status? Is she a widow, or she's not married? Right? We see her what? We see like she's a bula, even though he never consummated the marriage. That's called she entered into chuppah. So ksubasa mona. She only gets 100. Rabbi Yochri, Rabbi Chanina Damri Tavayim, we see Rosa Lakol after truma. Rabbi Yochri and Rabbi Chanina says no. When you give it over to the Baal, everything, even truma. Meisvei, we learned in the Brisa, Holach ha'av im shluchei habal. If the father had accompanied the agents of the husband, O shaholchu shluchei ha'av shluchei habal, O shahoiselo chotzer bederech, right? As they were traveling, she had a courtyard. V'nichlos imo lolin, and she went just to stay overnight. And they didn't have relations, but they went. Yeah, it was her courtyard. What bebeis balo. Well, api sheksuvos bebeis balo meso avi yorsha. Right? Nevertheless, if she dies, the father's there. Just staying overnight in the same inn means nothing. Mosa av l'shluchi abal. What about if the father actually gave this daughter over? Shemosha shluchi av l'shluchi abal. O shehoyselo chotzer. V'derech v'nuchsa imo l'shum nesuin. And she, right? Api sheksuva beisavio, mesa bale yorsha. The husband inherits her. The medvar murin, it says explicitly in regard to what lirushosa. Avol l'truma enisho chelis b'truma achitkonis l'chupa. Until actually he marries her fully. So what do we have? Tiyufta to kula tiyufta. It's a refutation of all those who said that what she can, right? What's that? Rashi. Those who argue in Shmuel. Shmuel said, what did Shmuel say? That it's considered only for Yerusha, not for Truma, right? Hagufa Kasha. Seems to be the Bryce, which was quoted as contradictory. Why? Amrit nichtuso imo lolin, right? She only spent the night with him. Right? Lolin. 1 second. Taimo de lolin. What's the reason why she's not considered married? Because it was explicitly just to stay overnight there. Hostoma. But if, let's say, he didn't say it's just to spend the night, l'shem nesuin. The presumption is staying. He's taking her into the domain for nesuin. Ema seifo. Nichnos imo l'shem nesuin. If she went into the inn, she spent the night, he took her in for the sake of marriage. Hostoma. But if he didn't say anything, lolin. The presumption is what? That she stay overnight. So how do we reconcile the Reisha and the Sefer? Omer Avashi, Stoma Stobikitoni. Stam Chotzer Dido Lalin. If it's her courtyard, then they're just spending the night together. Stam Chotzer Didei. But if it's his courtyard, Linasuan, even though he didn't say I'm doing. So if it's her courtyard, he says, we'll spend the night, you're entering the domain for marriage. That's marriage. Otherwise, it's just staying overnight there. Tana. Okay. Tora Mosa of the Shluchi Abal. We learn in the Brisa when the father gives over his daughter to the agents of the husband, Vizinso, and then she commits adultery. Now, Hari Hibzu Bechenek. Why? What's the halacha? Naira Morosa. Only if she's what? It's only kedushin. What happens? She's fully married. Then it's chenek. So therefore, if the father gave over his daughter, she's a nara who's only was kedushin. But he gave over his daughter to the agents of the husband. And subsequently, before the husband consummates the marriage, she commits adultery. It's chenek. Why? Because she's considered nesua. Right? How do we know this? Omer Avami, Barchoma Omakro, Liznos Beis Ovia. When does the Torah say she's liable for skilo? If it's Beis Ovia. She's in the household of a father, in the domain of the father. Prat that comes to exclude the case where the father gave over his daughter to the agents of the husband. Why do we say it's speaking of case? She actually entered into chuppah, into his domain, but he didn't consummate it. Omer Rav Omer li chuppah behedjuk siva. Omer le Omer Rava Omer liyami chuppah behedjuk siva. Yeah, why? Because it's kiyeh naro besula morosa liish. It says who's liable for skila? If a woman was a nara morosa psula, she's morosa, betrothed. Nara. So what does that tell? Nara v'lo bogeres. She's between 12 and 12 and a half. She's not a bogeres. Besula v'lo bulo. Morosa v'lo nesua. My nesua. What does that mean nesua? She's not a nesua. What does that mean? Ilem nesuna mamish. If she's fully married, meaning they consummate hainu besula v'lo bulas, that's already she's no longer virgin, right? El lav. So what does it mean? It means she nichnaso the chuppah v'lo nivalo. So that's come to tell me where she entered into the chuppah and they didn't consummate the marriage. That's the case where it says morosa v'lo nivalo. she's not a nara any longer. She's 12 and a half. The only time she's subject to skila is only 12 to 12 and a half. She's not a nara. She's a bogeres. No, but there's nothing to do with it. Bogeres has nothing to do with fully married. Bogeres means she physically matures. It says naro moroso. You have to meet two criteria to be liable for stoning. She has to be a naro, so that means she's less than 12 and a half. And she's still a morosa. She's still betrothed. She didn't go beyond that state. Separate. That's a married state. Ve'emo hecho dehodro leveinosho hodro lemusakamo. Let's say she went and she was given over to the agents, and then she returned to her father's house because she didn't enter the chuppah with her husband. Maybe she should go back and again reassume the status of naro bebeisovio. How do we know once she leaves the father's household she can't? If she goes back, it doesn't make a difference. Omar Rova hahu kvar posko. She already severed that relationship. It's not going back, the physical going back. Once the father gave her over, she left his domain. Right? It was severed. It was severed. Yeah. Tanvei Shmuel. For Posca Tanvei Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel said she was the Tanvei Shmuel here. It says V'neder almona ugrusha. Now, if a woman makes a neder, there's one of two ways to nullify. Either she goes to a bezdin before a panel, and they, like anybody makes a neder, you nullify it. But a husband or a father can nullify the neder, even unbeknown to the woman, right? But when is that? That's only if she's a nara. A father can only nullify a daughter's nedarim if she's a nara. Once she's 12 and a half, since she's left his domain, now if she makes a neder, she has to go before a panel to what? To have it nullified. Or if she's married, the husband will nullify it. Okay? So it says the neder almono grusha, the neder of a widow or a divorcee. Kol asher osra al nafsho, whatever she accepts upon herself as a neder, yokom aleh, it's in place. Ma Talmud lomar. What does it come to teach us? An almona grusha, halo mutzas b'chlalav, mutzas b'chlabal. I mean, what's the chiddush? She left the domain of the father, and she left the domain of the husband. So of course, she's like any regular Jew. You have to go before a panel to have it nullified. So what does it come to tell me? Listen, what it's come to tell me. The father gave over his daughter to the agents of the husband. Or the agents, the father gave her over to the agents of the husband. And subsequently, before they arrived, the husband died, so she actually never entered into chuppah. On the way to, she became widowed. Oh, Nizgarsho, before she arrived, he already divorced her. Nizgarsha, hey, chanikori bo beisovio, shozu. Do I see? Is she still in the domain of the father? Oh, beisbal shozu. So she's not beisovio, and she never entered into beisbalo, right? Because she was divorced or widowed before she arrived. He wasn't alive any longer. Here, what happened? On the way, he passed away. El lo maloch came sheyotze shoachas m'reshus shuveni yochel hofer. So what's the Torah telling us? If she's an almona or grusha, that even though since she left the domain of the father, although she didn't enter into the domain of the father, the husband, she does not return. That's the case of neder almona grusha. She was widowed on the way, although the marriage she never entered the chuppah. Once you're out, you can't nullify it. That means he's out of her domain. So just as she's out of his domain regarding the Dorim, same here, she's out of his domain, that the father no longer inherits her, the father no longer has any control over her. Omer of Popo, Afanami Tinina. We learned in the Mishnah. Habo al Nair Moroso. It says a person who commits adultery with Nair Moroso, Eino Chayvat Shtei Naro Besula. Here, she has to be a Naro, 12 years old. She has to be a virgin, Moroso. And also, Vihi Bebeso Vio. And she has to still be, no, it doesn't mean physically living there. She still has to be in the household under the domain of the father. We understand. She has to be a Nara. She can't be beyond 12 and a half. Besula v'lo bula. Marasa v'lo nesua. So good. She has to be betrothed and not fully married. So what's Beis Avia? What does that come to teach me? Yeah? We already have everything included without the Beis Avia. Lamute mai, lav lamute mosav. You know what's come to tell me? Mosav l'shluchi abal. That even though she's not in the suah, when the father gives over his daughter to the agents of the husband, although she didn't enter into the household of the husband, he never consummated it, she's out. Once she's out, she loses the status. The father no longer has control over his daughter, although chuppah never took place. That's what this comes to teach me. The base of Vio. Otherwise, it's all included in the suah. We have another Mishnah that supports this concept. Right? A woman who's a married woman, she entered into the domain of the husband for Nisuin. Yeah? The husband never consummated the marriage. There was chuppah, but they didn't have relations. She's chenek. What does it mean? Shmamino. Because what? Because she's already considered she entered the domain of the husband. Right? It doesn't say Rashi nichnos l'chuppah. She never had chuppah. Right? That's considered. She was nichnos l'shus habal. Once she goes in the domain of the husband, then already she assumes the status of a fully married woman, and the liability is chenek and not skila. Okay? Now, a father has no obligation to feed his daughter. You hear this? A parent has no obligation to feed his child. Zeb midrash dorsh Rabbi ben Azar fnei chachomim b'keren b'yavne. Habonim yushu. The sons are the heirs, right? If you have sons, the daughters don't inherit. Habonos yizunu. And the daughters, they're supported from the estate, right? When a father dies, what happens? The sons are the heirs, they inherit the estate, but nevertheless, the daughters have a claim to be supported from the estate. Just as when the sons, one of the heirs, they only have a right to the estate only once the father passes away. Identically, when did the daughters have a claim to the estate to be supported? Because that's the Tanai Ksuba. The Ksuba says that, that the daughters that are left, they have a right to be supported from the estate. So take a look at Rashi. What does it mean? This is the Midrash of Rabbi Elazar ben Azar. We know Rabbi Elazar ben Azar was appointed to be the Nasi, the famous story. Rabbi Gamliel was impeached. Right? Rabbi Elazar ben Azar, we say in the Agora. I'm like 70, he was only 18 years old. So the day that he was appointed to be the Nasi, he gave a drasha. Okay? This is what he had said. Let's take Rashi. Because the same thing is true even your sons. We don't differentiate sons or daughters. So what does the Mishnah speak specifically? Sons, a daughter. A father doesn't have to support his daughter as a minor. Okay. There were two enactments. They had enacted the Chachomim regarding Ksuba. What is included in the Ksuba? Habonim Yushu Ksubas Nindichrin. Meaning the sons inherit they inherit the dowry that the wife brought into the marriage. Did not be mastizim bin dichrin the heaven lichiminoi in yarsun kesef ksubosech yesal chukem. They will inherit that in addition to their share. Dimachon behind abonim yushu ksubas bin dichrin kama forashinan mahi. What is that? Habonos izonu benan nukvin. What does it say in the ksuba? The daughters that I have from you. Yeah, benan nukvin the heaven lechiminoi. The daughters that you will have from me, Einon Yehavan Yasu Mebesi, as long as they're living in my household. They're support until they become fully mature. Oh, unless they're married. So if she's married before 12 and a half, she's not supported any longer. The husband will support her. And if she's not married by the time she's 12 and a half, the state no longer has to support the daughter. But the state is bound to support the daughter until she's 12 and a half if she's not married. If she's not married, okay? Let's go further. It says he's not obligated to feed his daughter. So but it seems to be, what about a son? You are obligated. Bimzonas bitu deino chayev, bimzonas bino chayev. Bito nami chovu deleko. So the Gemara says, okay, bimzonas bitu deino chayev, bimzonas bino chayev. Bito nami chovu deleko. When we say that he's not obligated, there's no obligation. Ha mitzvah iko. But there is a mitzvah. There's a mitzvah to support your children, to feed them. It's not going, not like Rebbe, not like Rebbe, not like Rebbe Chomer. The Tanya. Mitzvah leozon is habonos. There's a mitzvah to support, to feed your children, the daughters. Kal v'chomer. Lebonim, daski b'torah. Divrei Reb Meir. Okay? 1 second. My ksubahi. Tenai ksubahi. Okay, wait 1 second. So what does Rameir say? Rameir says, Tanya, mitzvah lozan zabonos kal v'chomer lebonim. So if you have to feed your daughters, so your children learn Torah, definitely you have to support. The daughters don't study Torah. So the study, so if by supporting you enable them to study, there's no question you support them. There's a mitzvah to support your sons. A son could beg. If a man begs, it's not such a disgrace. A girl begs, it's a disgrace. So if you have to support your sons, there's a kal v'chomer, you definitely have to support your daughters. So far we've had so far what? There's a mitzvah to support your sons and daughters, both Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda. Yeah, there's not only is it a mitzvah to support your sons and daughters, there's an obligation. Chovah lozon es habonos la'acham misas aviyin. Here, that's only after the father dies. Avochay aviyin elav elon einin zonen. Neither are supported. When the father's alive. After he dies, as we said, that's a takana. They get from the estate. But when the father's alive, he doesn't have support. Not his sons, not his daughters. That's Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Money must listen. So what do we attribute the Mishnah to? The Mishnah says explicitly that a father is not obligated to support his daughter, but it seems to be the son, yes. So it's not going like any of these people, because according to Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda, there's a mitzvah. According to Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, neither. The Mishnah says the daughter not, but the son yes. So who do I attribute the Mishnah to? Money must listen. Reb Meir, homa bonim mitzvah. Right? You do have an obligation. Rabbi Yehuda Amar bonim nami mitzvah, that sons are also mitzvah. Rabbi Yochanan Broka afilu mitzvah nami leka. There's not even a mitzvah because he says you're not obligated to support your daughters. That's Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, right? You're not mechuyev to support either, not the son, not the daughter. Ibo Seim or Reb Meir. The Mishnah go like Reb Meir, Ibo Seim or Reb Yehuda. Ibo Seim or Reb Yochanan ben Broka. Ibo Seim or Reb Meir. How does it go like Reb Meir? Reb Meir says there's a mitzvah to support both your sons and daughters. The Mishnah says that you're not chayiv to support your daughter. You're not obligated to support your daughter, and also you're not obligated to support your son. But there is a mitzvah. Even though there's no chiyuv, there's no obligation, but it's the right thing to do. Why? Mitzvah iko. And what? And kavachol lebonim. So if there's a mitzvah to support your daughter, definitely your son who sits and studies Torah, definitely should be supported. So why do we choose Bito? The Mishnah says you have no obligation to feed your daughter. But when it says daughter means also the son. So what do we pick on daughter? Why does the Tana choose to only mention the daughter? What does it say? You have no obligation to support your son and also your daughter. Why does he choose the daughter versus the son? What he's telling the Chiddush is, because it's a greater Chiddush. Because you would say, Afilu bito chova lehudaleko, mitzvah iko. You'd say, a son you would think, what? He studies Torah. So therefore what? Right? The afilu bito chovahu. You would think, oh, it's even a chova. But the afilu bito chovu deleko hamitzviko. You would say maybe there isn't even a mitzvah. A son learns Torah. So you know something? It's the right thing you should support your son. It's a mitzvah to support your son. He's studying Torah. But a daughter, she doesn't study. Why? There shouldn't even be a mitzvah. That the Tana says, you know something? There's no obligation, but mitzvah, there is a mitzvah. There's a mitzvah to support your children. It's the right thing to do.
Would you say the same thing? You have sons, if they don't study Torah, would they also be supported?
No, but a son has relevance to studying Torah. He could be encouraged.
Right.
Then there's no mitzvah. If your sons are not studying Torah, there's no. It seems to me it's not even a mitzvah. Let's say there's no hope. But that's what the Tana, according to Rabbi, chooses the son. The daughter, there's no obligation. Because he wants to tell us that even though but there's a mitzvah to support a daughter, although she doesn't study Torah. Ibo Seimo Reb Yehuda. Say to Mishnah, Reb Yehuda says goes the other way. You have to that what? We draw a kal v'chomer, the son you support, and kal v'chomer your daughter. Why? Because it's a disgrace for a girl to beg. A son where there's no disgrace to beg. A man, it's not as disgraceful. We say you have to support him. So a daughter, which is disgraceful, definitely you should support her. The coach came, live no. Right? You're not obligated to support your daughter, although there's a disgrace. You're not obligated. So I'm not obligated to support my daughter, even though she's in a state of disgrace. Definitely, you're not obligated to support your son because we're not concerned about the disgrace of a man like a woman. But there is a mitzvah. Why? Because if it's a mitzvah to support your son, why? Because for a girl to beg, it's a disgrace. So what did Tana choose bito? Bito. Even though by your daughter it's a disgrace, nevertheless, it's no more than a mitzvah. Chazal didn't obligate you to support her. As the guy says, I couldn't care about my daughter. Not interested in mitzvah. Is it an obligation? It's not an obligation. Let her go beg. But you're disgracing her. It's irrelevant to me. So that's the chiddush. You would think that it should even be a chova by a daughter. The answer is it's not a chova. It's only a mitzvah. It's unbelievable. You know, there's so many different, all these different variations. So factually, there are all kinds of people in this world. Some people couldn't care less if their children have nothing to eat. You're married. I did mine. Now you're on your own. That's it. The people like that. I'm going to tell them. But your children, other people are supporting them. And you have the means. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? I did mine. There are people like this out there. And other people, just the opposite. They're privileged. They feel privileged they could help their children. If I could help my children, of course I want to help my children. All kinds of people out there. You mean you're agreeable? You choose rewards of charity? And you shouldn't support them? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? People no shame. Very good boy. I said to my son, he's the Rosh Koch, I said that. And I know the family well. No shame. It's like a European mentality, refugee mentality. He was a Holocaust survivor, his grandfather. Came over after the war. Sick. It's a sickness. Yep. Both, father and grandfather. No, if you're able to get, why should I give you? Maybe they supplement it, but still, I supplement. We'll see. The Gemara's talk. We're talking about before the age of 6, a parent has an obligation to support a child. should support it. I mean, how's the child supposed to survive? At one time, at the age of 6 onward, a child could fend for themselves. From the age of 6 beyond. We'll see. Iba Seimo, the Bishop like Rabbi Yochanan ben Baruch. Rabbi Yochanan ben Baruch says that you have no obligation. You have, what does he say? Yochanan ben Baruch said there's an obligation to support the daughter only after you pass away, right? But while you're alive, there's no chova, right? Okay, let's take a look. Rabbi Yochanan ben Baruch, Ibos Rabbi Yochanan ben Baruch, Eino chayv imzonas bito, v'uadin lebeno, v'uadin da'afilu lemitzvah nami leka. You hear this? You have no obligation even as a mitzvah. V'aydi debonos lachamisas aviyah chovo. So because it says that the daughter, after the father passes, it becomes an obligation, meaning the estate is leaned to their support. But it doesn't mean it is. For a daughter, there's a mitzvah. When the father's alive, there's a mitzvah. The son, there's no mitzvah. Let him go beg. Because for a daughter, it's a disgrace. That is very important. In Usha was a community in Babylon. They legislated, yeah? They legislated that a person has an obligation to support his children when they're little. We'll see when they're little. So when he said this, when Rabbi Law said in Rish Lokshtim, Rabbi Uda Barachanira, that in Usha they legislated this, do we rule this way or don't we rule this way? That a father has an obligation to support his young children? Yeah. Tana means until they become adults, until they reach puberty. Do we rule this way? Don't we rule this way? Usha was a community in Eretz Yisrael. It wasn't in Chutz La'aretz. It wasn't in Babylon. Eretz Yisrael. Toshma. We learned ki havu also lekamit Rav Yudo. Amadu yarod yoldo. V'nei masa shajo. Hear this? We learned, it says, ki havu also lekamit Rav Yudo. When they came for Rav Yudo, they said, yarod yoldo. Yeah. Yarod, the snake gave birth to its offspring. Yeah, and yeah. V'avnei maso shodyo. And they put the burden on the members of the community. Yeah. Ki havu also lekamit Rav Chisda omedu kofulei asisa ditzibura v'leikem v'leimo urva boy boneg v'hu gavra lo boy boneg. Yeah. He says kofu le asisa b'tzibura. You overturned your pestle, and you put the burden on the tzibur, and you should go tell this man who doesn't want to support his children, the raven wants children, and this man has no interest in his children. You're worse than the raven. He says, kofu machtesh zapiv yamod ze al gav shuleo begova shishmu kolo v'yachris alatzmo shurabin orvin. He says you should turn over the pestle. It's like stand on a box, and you become a call out to the community. Say, this man is evil. He's worse than the raven. A raven's concerned for its children. This man is not concerned for its children. Yeah. Wait, the Gemara is going to ask a question. How could you say he's worse than the raven? Yeah. The pasuk says the raven doesn't feed its young. So you want to say he's like the raven? Let him be like the raven. You can't say he's worse than the raven. That's the Gemara's question. Yeah. You should overturn the pestle in the middle of the community. The raven is interested in its offspring. Smart ass. The raven is interested in its young. The children of the raven cry out to Hashem for food because the mother doesn't feed it. The father doesn't feed it. The raven has no rachmanis on its offspring. The there's different. The two types. There's a white bird and there's a black bird. Yeah. So he says bechivri. There you go. Alma luzayin uchmi shegodel mashke ve'em va'av oavin osan. No, when they turn black, they take care of them. Because that's called. Then they have no interest in them. Alma writes, he says, Uchmi, kshugodl mashchi ve'im va'av oavin osan. Avol nitchilosan levonim. Initially, they don't resemble them. So, v'sonin osan. No, it's racist. Okay? Yeah. Haba uchmi ho. Okay? So, therefore, you're worse than the raven, meaning the mature raven. He says, would you prefer? You don't support your children. Came before Rabbi, he says, you want your children to be supported from charity. Yeah, you only say that a person is not truly wealthy. But a person's wealthy, you force the man to support his family. Man says, I can't do it, just too bad. The court goes and compels him to support his family. If he's not wealthy, they tell him, you mean you prefer to what? Your family should be supported from charity. Right? Share your bread with your kids, with your children. So, if the man really doesn't have, this is one thing. Even though he's not wealthy, he has enough, you still tell the man he has to support his family. Kyodarova, Kafilu Rab Nosam Arami, you this? It's unbelievable. Rab Nosam Arami, Rava forced Rav Nosam Arami, Va'apik Minei, Daldeme Azudli Tztoka. He pulled out of him 400 zuz for tztoka. What do you have to force him? And we're talking, Rav Nosam, he was Namora. What does he say? Did he say something in the footnote? See, first, this has nothing to do with what's in. This has to do with just giving charity. This doesn't mean not. He forced it. He pulled not to support his children, to give charity. He was kofim. So the question: does it mean physically they forced him, or he gave him a verbal beating? No, there it's physical. That's something else because there's a problem. Tosas asks. There's a halacha. Bezdin cannot physically force a person. The Torah speaks about its schar. So therefore, that's Tosas correct. The Gemara says that Bezdin does not compel a person. The Torah speaks about the reward for doing a mitzvah. And over it does. It speaks about, you merit bracha. So how does it say? So how did he force him? So he says it means verbal. It doesn't mean physical force. It doesn't mean physical coercion. It means verbal coercion. Okay. No, the bezdin. It's only mitzvah say. There's a mitzvah to give charity. No, it's only for a mitzvah where the Torah doesn't speak about the value of the mitzvah. Doesn't speak about the person doesn't want to put on tefillin. Force him to put on tefillin, even physically. You beat him till he puts on tefillin. Build a sukkah. He doesn't want to eat matzah. You beat him. Finished. Until he says I'm agreeable. But let's see, tzedakah, which the Torah says that if you give tzedakah, you can merit bracha. So the Torah says you're going to merit bracha. So because the Torah says if that's not enough, the court has is not permitted to. So it says here they forced him. So Tosafos doesn't mean physical force; it means verbal force. Verbal. Here's another answer. A person writes over all his possessions. Yeah? He writes over all his properties to his family, to his children. He and his wife could be supported from, this happens today, you know that. For inheritance laws, people, they already sign over their assets to the children. Then the parent wants to go on a vacation. Yeah? The kid said, well, no, they're not giving them the money. Parents said, we have an expense, sorry, something, we have our own expenses. And the parent is left high and dry. So they've made a takana. A person writes over his possessions to his parents who write over to their children. They have a claim on the assets they wrote over, that they're going to be supported from those assets. Okay? Okay. Matzkif lo Reb Zeir Vitem Reb Shmuel ben Achmoni Gedolim Izu Amru Amanoso Dizonis Mnechosov. His widow is supported from his possessions. Huvish to me boy. I mean, what do you need a special takona? The halacha is if a man dies, his widow is supported from the estate. So they had to make a legislate a special halacha, special law, that when you give your assets to your kids, that you have a lien on it to be supported. Here the widow is supported from his estate. The shloch Ravin Bigarte, he sent in a letter. Ravin sent in a letter. Misha mes v'nich almono. Person died, he leaves a widow, ubas, and a daughter. Almanoso nizonis b'nechosov. The widow was supported from the assets, from the estate. Nesas habas. Okay, Amnoso nizonis b'nechosov. Nesas habas. What happens if the daughter gets married? Almnoso nizonis b'nechosov. The widow still, right? Meisa Habas, the daughter dies. Meisa Habas, Omer Yehuda ben Achos Rabbi Yossi Berchanina al Yodu Mase. I had a personal incident. Varma Almanosa Disos Mechosov, who v'ishto mi boy, Mal de se Mehosim who the leka de Torach, Avaloch de Nitrach di Didei uli Dido Kamash Malon. One second. See, there's no one to work on her behalf. She's a widow. The father's still alive. Go earn a living for your wife. Mm-hmm. You hear this? Man writes over his properties. Afterwards, the son says, you still have the capability to work. Go work, mm-hmm. Or go beg.